How does this sound? This isn't a prediction. This is just a hypothetical. Colts 16, Steelers 14. How does that sound? Bear with me on this, okay? Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. No, I'm not trying to set up a scenario in which your favorite football team loses a really big game. I understand there's precious little appeal to the concept. However, one thing that I think we can all agree upon is that the tourniquet's got to start working at some point. There's got to be a ceasing or at least a slowing of the bleeding. There's got to be something that happens that turns this season around, that flips the script as it relates to this defense. Because there's nowhere to go otherwise. I guess you could, kind of crawl into the playoffs because the division is lousy and steal a couple here or there and watch the Bengals and the Browns and even the Ravens just continue to flounder. Maybe even wear, those "We Run the North" shirts and then travel for some first round game to, Buffalo. Just get served up like lambs. Or you can find an answer. And you can find that answer in the context of facing the number one team in the NFL. That's, of course, the Colts. They're 7-1, and they are 7-1 on merit. They do a little bit of everything, but they do a lot of scoring. They're going to come at you, in all likelihood, like no other team that follows on the schedule. Not one. Because they're not just going to fling it the way the Chargers will next week in Los Angeles. They're going to come at you with a much more reliable and a much more repeatable method. And that's running the ball with Jonathan Taylor, with that line, with that protection that they're giving that helps the passing game. But if you hold those guys to 16 points, you've probably done something really right. A touchdown and 3 field goals. They've moved. They've gone down the field on you. They've made you sweat a little bit. But chances are you'll have tightened up. Or, better yet, you'll have taken the football away. And because you'll still have some energy, chances are just as likely that your offense is having a similar day. Not necessarily super productive, a touchdown and 2 field goals, but you're moving. You're getting things done. The other guys just happened to be one kick better. Why am I doing this? Why am I framing it this way? It's to underscore that right now, in this moment, the result doesn't matter. If they win 40-38, the result doesn't matter. You'll be waving your towel and cheering for a little bit, and about an hour later, you'll be like, oh, geez, this isn't going anywhere. What are we even doing? Both Terrell Austin and Arthur Smith took their turns yesterday on the South Side, coordinator Thursday and at. And being that the defense is in the harshest of spotlights right now, pretty much everything that Austin says is going to qualify as news. This probably was as newsy as he got. When asked by Chris Halleck of DK Pittsburgh Sports whether or not the Steelers would benefit from just simplifying everything on defense, because they've tried a lot of different stuff and undoubtedly bit off more than they can chew in that regard. This was Austin's response.
That goes back to I think these questions at the beginning, what do you do? And so what am I doing in my process to help our guys so they understand the details and do that? And sometimes it means you cut some things back. Sometimes it means you cut some things out. Sometimes it's no change at all. But we look at everything and see what we have to do. And it's we have to be in position. I think there's a lot of times you look at it. I think we've had some on both ends, we've been in position position to make it, and we've lost, and other times we haven't been. So that's just kind of the nature of the game. And again, we'll just keep working in our process and trying to get our guys in the best position as we can. And again, if it means scaling back, scale back. And we just go from there.
Well, I don't know if he's right or wrong. He's obviously been wrong a lot this season. I do know that this is what I hear from the players. They want to see things just get brought back to basics. They want to see or hear Patrick Queen calling out plays where they don't have to go over quantum physics to figure out who they're supposed to tackle. They just want to know that they're supposed to tackle. Now, is that going to get you exposed against a coordinator of Shane Steichen's caliber? You bet. Is it going to make you look bad at times? Sure. Why do you think I handed them those 16 points? But is it going to make you a stronger overall team? Yes. Yes, it will. Could it create, this is all still hypothetical here, okay? No predictions. Could it create an environment in which you would bounce back and, hey, let's finish the job now, meaning going into LA and taking on Justin Herbert and all those lightning bolts? Yeah, and that's the point. That's the point. Well, I guess there's one other thing I could throw into this. I mean, Boz is really good, so he could theoretically have one more kick than the other guys. But you get the point I was trying to make. When we come back, J1Q. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show. Today's J1Q comes from Bobby, who says, DK, could this possibly be the game that gets Terrell Austin fired? If the defense gives up 30-plus points and 350-plus passing yards, wow, he will be gone. I don't have high expectations for this game, Bob adds, as if that isn't already obvious. I don't mean to be interrupting. This is hilarious. I hope the offense can keep the game close and use some clock for a change, but I'm afraid it will be the third home loss of the season. Bobby's having a day, man. He's got 30-plus points, 350-plus passing yards, and I'm going to guess that he had to collect himself before coming up with all of that. Is this the game that gets TA fired? No. Hey, you can call that a prediction or whatever you want. It's just, there's some common sense that has to apply. There's some practicality components that not a lot of us, myself included, will consider often enough. For example, if you have one of those situations where you fire the coordinator, but the head coach takes over play calling, that's not something that Mike Tomlin's ever done in the National Football League. Meaning, I don't know that it's a skill that he has. You do have head coaches who walk around with sheets and sheets of playbook stuff, and they're always covering their mouth and everything. That's not him. That's not him. He's the head coach who is the head coach. He's on the sideline with the jaw all the way out, his eyes wide, surveying the field, looking for guys that he can talk to, being motivational and everything. I'm not saying that if given, a year or two or something, he wouldn't be able to do it, but he's never done it. And I would think there's a very, very real chance that he wouldn't be able to do it well at all. Just because he hasn't done it before. Not even being critical here. So who would you be handing TA's headset to? Who would you be doing that with? I go back to when Matt Canada was fired. I felt like it was a very different scenario because you had Eddie Faulkner, you had Mike Sullivan, both of whom had some play calling experience. You had an existing book that they felt like they could go through and find worthwhile plays. The two of them, went to the players and said, what do you guys feel good about? Canada would never do stuff like that. Would just go hide in this one office at the end of the hall. And they made something out of the rest of that season. That was the 2023 season. Mason Rudolph took over at quarterback and ended up putting the team in the playoffs. It wasn't just Mason that did that. It wasn't just the running game that did that. The coordinators, the co-coordinators who replaced Canada did that. I don't see that here. I don't look across this defensive staff and say, oh yeah, here's the guy. Here's the one who can step in and do that. You have the playbook that you have. You have the people that you have. You have the coaches that you have. And I really, this time, unlike last time, as those of you who were listening to this program back then can attest to this, I went really hard on that concept. You just need to get Canada out of there immediately. That's not this, because there's not anybody to replace him with. You want to send a message? Okay, great. Buy a billboard. You want to try to get things back in order? You've got to stick with what's here, at least through the season. You've got to. There is not an alternative. And listen, before I sign off for the week, I want to make sure that one thing is really plain. Whenever I'm talking about this defense getting better, just as earlier this season I was talking about this offense getting better, I am far more invested in that than I am in individual outcomes. There's a reason for that. I don't care if they get to the playoffs and lose by 40. I don't care if they win the division because everybody else lost their quarterbacks. The objective at the outset, not really even of the season, but of training camp, was, hey, we've got these guys. We went out and we got some big names. We need to make something out of this, and we need to do it now. Are there individual developmental objectives? Yeah, sure. You want Derek Harmon to get better. You want Caleb Johnson to overcome his early mistakes. You want stuff like that. But for the 2025 NFL season, the only hope of salvaging it, which sounds crazy considering they're 2.5 games up in the division, is to get better, facet-wise. Get better at your foundation. Rebuild, and I don't care how many times they deny it, including to my face, that confidence, because it's not there. They've been rattled as a collective, not necessarily individually. I'm not talking about how much they believe in themselves. I'm talking about how much they believe in everything that's happening around them. They have been rattled. That needs to stop. All of it needs to stop. And maybe, just maybe, Boz has that one or two extra kicks in him. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Steelers. I don't know if I say it often enough, but I mean it. I'll be traveling to Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I won't be available for the Double Shot of Steelers. Chris will have you on that again. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern, and I will make it back from Manitoba in time for Steelers versus Colts on Sunday. Don't forget to go download the app. I can come after you even from Manitoba.